You know that feeling. You wake up on January 1st, fire in your eyes, convinced this is the year. You're going to hit the gym 5 days a week. You're going to read 2 books a month. You're going to eat healthy, meditate daily, wake up at 5 a.m. By January 15th, you haven't been to the gym. The book is gathering dust. You're back to ordering takeout at midnight, and you hate yourself for it. Why can't I just stick to this, you ask? What's wrong with me? Here's the thing. Nothing's wrong with you. Your brain is actually working perfectly, just not in the way you want it to. Today, I'm going to show you exactly why habits fail, the science behind why your willpower isn't enough, and most importantly, the specific tactics top performers use to make habits stick permanently. By the end of this video, you won't just understand why you fail, you'll have a blueprint to actually succeed. Let's go. First, let's talk about what a habit actually is. Your brain is lazy, and I mean that in the best way possible. It's obsessed with efficiency. Every single behavior you do, brushing your teeth, driving to work, scrolling social media, follows the same 3-step pattern. Scientists call it the habit loop. Step 1, the cue. Something triggers you. You see your running shoes. You smell coffee. You sit down at your desk. Step 2, the routine. This is the behavior. You go for a run, you make coffee, you open email. Step 3, the reward. Your brain releases dopamine. You feel energized. You feel calm. You feel accomplished. Here's the key. Your brain doesn't care if the behavior is good or bad. All it cares about is the reward. So when you quit habits, it's not because you're weak. It's because the reward isn't strong enough, or the cue isn't clear, or the routine is too hard. Let me give you an example. Smoking. A smoker sees stress. They smoke a cigarette. They feel calm. The habit is locked in because the reward is immediate and powerful. Now compare that to going to the gym. You see your workout clothes. You go to the gym. You feel better. Eventually. Maybe. The reward is delayed, weak, and uncertain. Your brain naturally gravitates toward the smoking habit because the reward system is stronger. This is why willpower alone doesn't work. You can't willpower your way past a poorly designed habit loop. Here's something most people don't understand. Willpower is a limited resource. Scientists have studied this extensively. They've found that willpower works like a muscle. The more you use it, the weaker it gets. By the end of the day, you have almost none left. Think about your day. You wake up and you use willpower to get out of bed. You use it to avoid hitting snooze. You use it to eat a healthy breakfast instead of pancakes. You use it at work to focus instead of scrolling TikTok. You use it to resist texting your ex. By 8 p.m., your willpower tank is empty. That's when the evening snacking happens. That's when you skip your workout. That's when you binge Netflix instead of studying. The worst part? You blame yourself. I just need to try harder, you think. But here's the truth. Trying harder doesn't work. You can't willpower your way to success. You can only design your way to success. This is why successful people don't rely on willpower. They design their environment so they don't need it. If you want to eat healthy, you don't fill your house with junk food and then use willpower to resist it. You just don't buy junk food in the first place. If you want to exercise, you don't wake up and motivate yourself to go to the gym. You lay out your workout clothes the night before. If you want to study, you don't sit in your room with your phone and expect willpower to work. You go to the library where your phone doesn't work. Environment beats willpower every single time. Okay, so habits fail because the reward is weak and the routine is too hard. How do you fix that? You make the routine tiny. I'm not talking about a little bit smaller, I'm talking about absurdly small. So small it feels almost pointless. This is called the 2-minute rule. Here's how it works. Pick your habit. Now shrink it down to a version that takes exactly 2 minutes or less. Want to exercise? Don't commit to an hour at the gym. Commit to putting on your workout clothes. That's it. 2 minutes. The first time you might just sit there, but the key is you did the behavior. Want to read more? Don't commit to reading a book. Commit to reading 2 pages, or even 1 page. 2 minutes, maybe less. Want to meditate? Don't commit to 30 minutes. Commit to 3 deep breaths. Literally 3 breaths. Here's the magic. Once you start, momentum takes over. You put on your workout clothes and suddenly you think, well, I'm already dressed, might as well do a quick workout. 2 minutes becomes 10, becomes 30. You read one page and suddenly you're hooked in the story. One page becomes 10. This is why the 2-minute rule works. You're not relying on motivation. You're relying on momentum. The hardest part of any habit is starting. If you make starting so small that you can't fail, you've solved half the problem right there. And here's the bonus. After you do your tiny habit consistently for a few weeks, your brain adapts. The behavior becomes automatic. The cue naturally triggers the routine. You don't need willpower anymore. That's when the real magic happens. Now we need to make the cue impossible to miss. Most habits fail because the cue is invisible. You say, I'm going to exercise more, but there's no trigger, no reminder, no visual cue telling you it's time. So it doesn't happen. Here's how to fix it. Make the cue obvious. First strategy, place your habit trigger right where you'll see it. Want to drink more water? Put a water bottle on your desk, not in the cabinet. Every time you look at your desk, you see the bottle. Cue triggered. Want to floss? Put the floss on your toothbrush, not in the drawer, on your toothbrush. So when you brush, you see it right there. Want to take vitamins? Put them next to your coffee maker. First thing you see in the morning. Second strategy, attach your new habit to an existing habit. This is called habit stacking. You already have a morning routine. You wake up, brush your teeth, make coffee. These are solid habits with strong cues. Now you attach your new habit to one of these. After I pour my coffee, I drink a glass of water. After I brush my teeth, I do 10 push-ups. After I check my email, I write down 3 goals for the day. The existing habit becomes the cue for the new habit. This is why it works. You don't need to create a new cue from scratch. You're leveraging a cue that already has momentum. Third strategy, use your phone. Set a reminder for the exact time you want to do your habit. Put it on repeat. Your phone buzzes and boom, cue triggered. The key is this. Make the cue so obvious that you'd have to be blind to miss it. Here's something that will blow your mind. Tracking your habit is more powerful than the habit itself. When you write down that you did your habit, something shifts. First, it gives you immediate feedback. Your brain sees the check mark and releases dopamine, reward delivered. Second, it creates a chain. One day of dots becomes a week of dots. A week becomes a month. Suddenly, you don't want to break the chain. This is why the habit tracker is so powerful. Buy a calendar. Put it somewhere you'll see it every day. When you do your habit, you mark it with an X. Day 1, X. Day 2, X. Day 3, X. Day 10, XX. Now you have a chain, and your only job is to not break the chain. Jerry Seinfeld uses this method. He doesn't focus on how good his comedy is on any given day. He focuses on not breaking the chain. The chain becomes the reward. Now here's the advanced move. Share your progress. Tell a friend, I'm committing to doing this habit for 30 days and I'm tracking it. Now you've added social accountability to the mix. Your brain wants to look good in front of others, so you're even more motivated to not break the chain. And when you do break it, you tell your friend and they encourage you to start a new chain immediately. The combination of visual tracking, the unbroken chain, and social accountability is almost unstoppable. Even with all this knowledge, most people still fail. Why? Because they try to change too much at once. They see this video, feel inspired, and decide they're going to exercise 5 days a week, eat perfectly healthy, wake up at 5 a.m., meditate for 30 minutes, read for an hour, journal, and learn a new skill. All starting tomorrow. And you know what happens? By day 3, they've quit everything. The mistake trying to be a different person overnight. Here's what actually works. Pick one tiny habit. Just one. Make it so small that failure feels impossible. Do that for 30 days until it's automatic. Then add the second habit and then the third. This is how you build a life. Not all at once. One habit at a time, stacked on top of each other. It takes longer, but it actually works. And here's the kicker. Once you realize that you can build one habit, you realize you can build any habit. Your confidence shoots up. The second habit is easier. The third, even easier. You're not just building habits anymore. You're building the identity of someone who keeps their promises to themselves. That's the real transformation. All right, let's recap. Habits fail because the reward is weak. The routine is too hard, the cue is invisible, and you're trying to change too much. But now you know the fix. Make the routine tiny. Make the cue obvious. Track your progress. Add social accountability. Pick one habit at a time. These aren't tips, they're a system. Ideas and practical habit strategies mentioned in this video is drawn from several prominent experts and best-selling books in the field of psychology and behavior change. Key influences include James Clear's Atomic Habits, which breaks down the habit loop and introduces habit stacking and the 2-minute rule. It also incorporates behavior scientist B.J. Fogg's principles from Tiny Habits, emphasizing starting with tiny, manageable changes. The concept of willpower as a limited resource is based on the research by Baumeister, popularized in the book Willpower, Rediscovering the Greatest Human Strength, by Baumeister and John Tierney. Additionally, the habit tracking method known as Don't Break the Chain comes from comedian Jerry Seinfeld's approach to consistency and motivation. Finally, the Eat That Frog technique, which recommends tackling the hardest task first, is credited to Brian Tracy's best-selling book, Eat That Frog. So here's my challenge. Pick one tiny habit you're going to start this week. Not today, too much pressure. But this week, make it so small that you can't fail. Make the cue visible, get a calendar, and start your chain. That's it. Do that, and in 30 days, you'll be a different person. Now go build your habit. And hey, if this helped you, smash that subscribe button. I drop videos like this every week. See you in the next one.